here's some things that I want that are related to what I'm going to end up saying today. And, is it the end or is it the beginning? Well, I am your transitional consultant, and my work, my professional work, is to teach and to hold space and to facilitate 3 stages of transitions. The first one is the ending, which is what we're doing now. So it is the end, right? In a month. It's the end of 26 years of legacy of Reverend Brendolin. And in this month, between now and that day, we get to practice doing endings well. And the third stage, is it the ending or is it just the beginning? Or is it just the ending or is it the beginning? Well, we forgot the middle stage in that song, but it's okay, because the people who wrote that song aren't transitional consultants. But the middle stage is where my magic comes in. It's called the gap. It is the most uncomfortable place for most of us in humanity ever, but I have found comfort there. Believe me, it took some work to find comfort there. But as we hold space for the gap, as we create space to allow a gap between the ending and the beginning, what we do is we find gems. We glean gems, we mine treasure, we discover all kinds of things. Now, in my past, I really did not like, I almost used that H word that has H-T-E, H-A-T-E in there, but I don't like to use that word much. Did you catch it? Right? Not knowing. I did not like not knowing. I would do everything in my power to know. I did not like that place of not knowing. And it could be anything, like not knowing when I was going to do this, or not knowing what was coming, or not knowing what the next date was, or not knowing what was going to come. I despised it because it made me so hugely uncomfortable. And then I started doing some work where it was all about stepping into the gap of not knowing. I'm like, oh, no. But I got really comfortable there. I got really, really comfortable there. And then I did some more work on myself, my spiritual initiation. I'll talk about that sometime over the course of our time together. But what I discovered in coming into transitional work, which, by the way, this is a celebration. I suppose I should have raised my hand. I am now an official Unity Worldwide Ministry consultant. Woohoo! I've only been doing the work for 3 years, but I finally got certified. And by the time I'm back next time, I could be certified in the Interim Ministry Network, too, which is a national certification. That probably won't happen until October, but it's getting very, very close. But what I discovered is really how empowering that gap can be. And in a part of my sort of exit interview with the powers that be at Unity Worldwide, they said, well, why do you like transitional consulting? Because there's a lot of people who are like, yeah, no. And I'm like, oh, please. And then people say to me, why don't you want a full-time ministry? I'm like, yeah, no. I like this so much. But what came out of that conversation, I hadn't really thought it all the way through. I said, here's what I love about it. It is in the power and the presence of the gap, the interrupt in status quo, that magic can happen. That there is the possibility of really landing in the truest essence of our being, individually, but collectively as a ministry. It's in that gap that we soften the stuff that has been concretized or, built into concrete, because we've always done it the way we've always done it. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you have this opportunity in this transition time to access the wisdom that says, who do we want to be? What is our biggest, boldest, most brilliant becoming? which is the phrase I use with my clients in the last year, a couple of years, and it freaks people out sometimes. Like, whoa, I don't want to be big. Yeah, but what if your biggest, boldest, most brilliant becoming is the freeing of your soul essence to be exactly who you're here to be? To know exactly why you're on the planet. And from knowing that why, discovering what is ours to do. So what if in this gap, in this transition time at Unity Santa Fe, we can be totally present to the ending, which I'm calling you to do. Be present this month. The work this month is honor, celebrate, and gratitude. That's it. Nothing else. Honor, celebrate, gratitude. What is it? Honor, celebrate, gratitude. I could have done a slide, but I don't do slides, so sorry. Honor, celebrate, gratitude. That is our work this month. And then at Reverend Brendalin's celebration, her last Sunday, I will be here. We've got some really juicy, sweet, bonus special pieces that we're designing for that service that we're not going to tell you about because we just want you to be here to witness. And part of that will be a ritual of her leaving as your senior minister. Now, the thing is about that is we can celebrate that for her and for us, and we can celebrate new beginnings, but we also get to do their endings well. And the endings will involve all kinds of emotions. And so this last month, the energy field of this ministry might go, wah! That's a technical term for wobble. Do you want it again? I mean, just for fun. It might go, wah! Right? Because emotions are coming up, because that's what happens with transitions. So we create the space. My work is to work with your leadership team, which then works with the congregation, the entire ministry, to create the space to allow all of it. And to know that it's all normal and natural to move through whatever comes up. So that was all triggered by your song. Now I'm going to see if I can go to my talk. I don't know if there's a really good segue there, but the power of the stories that we tell ourselves plays right into what we're talking about. Here, I did that pretty well, didn't I? Yeah, okay, good. Phew. The power of the stories we tell, we begin to look, when we bring a consciousness into a change. Now, a change is a physical change. Like Brendalyn is here one day and the next day she's gone. That's a physical change. But the transition process is an emotional and spiritual journey of adjusting to a new norm. So when you think about transitions, you can think about celebrations or graduations or weddings. We have weddings in the house or in the family coming up here soon. It's like both and. So you create space for both and. And how you navigate that depends a lot on the story you're telling about it. So, for example, if you're telling the story about a wedding coming up, that's a nice, safe topic, right? Maybe not for Tom, but or Marlene, but for the rest of it, it's nice and safe. It's like it's super exciting. It's like, yeah, awesome. It's like we're getting a new kid in our family, and it's like another level of adulthood and another level of celebration. And yet, especially as a mom, you go, oh, my relationship with my kid's never going to be the same. Good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad. It's that, right? It's all of it. So we can hold space for all of it. There's a quote that I wanted to share from John Moore. He says, "Your opinion is your opinion. Your perception is your perception. Do not confuse them with facts or truth. Wars have been fought and millions have been killed because of the inability of men and women to understand the idea that everybody has a different viewpoint. And to model that, I'm going to share the story of the five blind men and the elephant. Anybody know that story? Most people know that story. A lot of people have heard that story somewhere along the line. So the basis of the story is that there were 5 blind men who lived in a village. And of course, being blind, they couldn't see. They started arguing amongst themselves about what an elephant is, because they didn't have any idea. They had no ability to visualize what this thing is. So they had gone on and on and on and on and on, and finally somebody in the village said, oh, I'm going to stop this arguing. I'm going to take you to the elephant so you can experience the elephant in and of yourself. And so they all went to the elephant, and the first blind man, I'm going to look at my notes so I don't forget what the first blind man said. The first blind man, he touched the side of the elephant, and he noticed it was solid and smooth, like a wall. He said, the elephant must be very powerful. The second blind man touched the limber trunk of the elephant. He said, that's like, the elephant is like a giant snake. The third blind man touched the pointed tusk. He said, oh, that is sharp and deadly. The elephant is sharp and deadly as a spear. The fourth blind man touched the legs. That it's just like an extremely large cow. Everybody just exaggerates. It's just like the same thing. The fifth blind man, actually in this story there's 6 blind men, so that's weird. The fifth blind man touched the giant ear. And he said, the elephant is like a huge fan, or maybe a magic carpet that can rise above the treetops and soar over the mountains. The sixth blind man, I don't know where he came from, touched the coarse tail. He said, it's like nothing more than a coarse piece of old rope. And so they went off to a clearing and they sat down, and their guide said, sit here, I'm going to go get some water, I'll be back. And they started arguing. He said, no, it's like a wall. No, it's like a magic carpet. No, it's like a snake. No, it's just a big cow. No, it's just, no, it's just, no, it's just, no, it's just. And the arguing went on and on and on and on and on. And pretty soon there's this loud voice. He said, stop shouting. Have you ever considered that each of you has one piece, one perception, and that to find the truth, you need it all? Now, you might be jumping ahead and considering our world right now. And there are more than 6 opinions in our world right now with all that's going on. We've got earthquakes and hurricanes and pandemics and masks and vaccines and governments and, we got life on the planet, and it's messy. But each of us will go up to one part of that and go, it is deadly like a spear. It is like a wall. It's like a snake. It's like a magic carpet. And each of those is not wrong. But each of those is not the whole. The whole truth is only found when you can raise your perspective, where you can raise your perception to see with greater eyes, right? Another story, there's a little boy who's looking through a peephole in a fence, and what he sees is water. And he says, it's raining on the other side of that fence. Well, his older brother, who happens to be taller, peeked over the fence. And as he peeked over the fence, he saw a sprinkler by the peephole, sprinkling this big field. And the younger boy, the shorter boy, said, it's raining on the other side of the fence. He was adamant that that was the truth. The older boy was able to see that that was a part of the truth, that indeed was what that younger boy was seeing, but yet he could see a bigger perspective. He said, no, it's just a sprinkler. It's a beautiful day on the other side of the fence. You could take that story another level and put somebody up in a hot air balloon, and then they see beyond the field to the whole neighborhood, or the whole village, or the whole city. And so our work in looking at the power of the stories we tell is to realize, first and foremost, the story we tell is just the story we tell. The story we tell is simply the story we tell. But that doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's true. And, or, both and, why do you believe the stories you tell? Why do you believe what you believe? Why do you believe what you believe about anything? I mean, just a question. You don't have to answer it right now. But think about it. Why do you believe what you believe? We think, we think that we believe it because we see it. We think that we believe it because we see it. It's obvious. It's obvious that the elephant is like a magic carpet. Can you tell which one of those I like the best? Because I refer to it most, the magic carpet, that's just where I like to play, right? I like the stories that are expansive and spacious. But the truth is, we only see what we believe. That's flipped it on its side, okay? Why do we believe? We think we believe because we can see it. We can see, even the blind man could see that snake was an old rope when he had the tail. That's all he could see. So he believed based on what he saw. But that's actually not true. What is more true is that we can only see in the world what we believe. So when you begin to question your beliefs, why do I believe that? Why do I believe that? Well, is it that particular news channel, or is it that particular news channel? Or is it that particular motivational speaker? Or is it that particular book? Or is it my mother or my father? Or is it an ancient ancestral belief that was given down to me? Like some of the beliefs that we have, some of the stories we tell, I'm not good enough. That's a horrible story. Why do you believe that? Well, we believe it because it's in our subconscious. I'm not saying you all believe that. I'm just saying I used to. Right? Maybe some of us still have it. I'm not good enough. I'm not lovable. Life is hard. Life stinks. I'm never gonna, I can't, I won't, whatever. All those stories that we tell that keep us limited. Joke. Ready for a joke? I was interim minister in Austin, Texas for 6 months, and I spoke pretty much every single week for those 6 months, which I'm probably not going to be doing here, but I did that for 6 months, and I got to be known really, really quickly for my bad jokes. So then when they were getting ready to send me on my way, they're like, we love your bad jokes. I'm like, that's so nice to be known for my bad jokes. Just a precursor, just a warning. Just an FYI, right? Okay, so what's the difference between a fairy tale and a sea story? S-E-A-C. What's the difference between a fairy tale and a sea story? Fairy tale begins once upon a time. Sea story goes, this ain't no BS. Thank you. I needed that. But what if we take a look at the stories we tell and realize and begin to discover how they are directing our lives? And if we're telling a story that we're not enough, or we're not good enough, or I can't or I won't because of this and that and the other thing, what if you flip that story on its side? What if you went, one of my favorite sayings, a story I'm making up about that, right? Because what that does for me is I notice that I'm in a loop about something or someone or something out in the universe or some reaction I'm having to something in life. The story, I notice the story I'm making about that is this. And then I can tell my story, but I tell my story with a lens of becoming curious, with a lens of, is that even the truth? So the story I'm making up about some experience I had in the airport the other day was that somebody was rude to me, which must meant that I didn't know what I was doing, which must have meant that I was less than, which obviously must have meant that I'm not good enough. Anybody know that story? Right? Yeah. We all know that story. Why? Because we're human. And why are we looking at these stories? Because we're evolving beyond our stories. But when I can say, I noticed that the story I'm making up about that is this, then I can check in. Is that a truth? Or is that a perception? Or an opinion? Or a reaction, even? So the one shift, the one simple shift that you can begin to lay on top of the stories is number one. It's the one shift, but it's got several steps. Number one, notice the stories you're telling. Notice how they're powering, empowering, dispowering you and your life. And pivot it. Now, if we have a story going that says, I'm exhausted, I'm overwhelmed, I can't do it all. Now, there may be some people watching who have had that story recently. And we want to pivot that story. So we want to pivot to like, I'm vitally alive and doing exactly what I want to do. But the gap is too big, right? You can't go from I'm exhausted to changing your mind, going, no, I kind of want to, I can't even get to vitally alive, right? So that power is to begin to open the space. Because the reality is, the awareness is, the evidence is. So you can begin to start with, well, what if I wasn't overwhelmed? What if I wasn't exhausted? What if I was in alignment with what is mine to do? What if I could imagine waking up in the morning, being vitally alive and full of energy? Do you see how those are softer, non-judgmental shifting of the power of the disempowering story into something that becomes expansive or spacious? The power of opening to a new possibility is a superpower. Now, some might say there could be some spiritual bypassing there, some ignoring of what is, ignoring of the facts. I'm not suggesting that you spiritually bypass. Now, what that word means is you go, I'm exhausted. I'm going to ignore that and pretend I'm vitally alive. Ugh, that won't work. That's spiritual bypassing. That's one form of it. There's many forms of it. Don't do that. Tell the truth about what is. Go, I'm exhausted. I'm having the experience of being exhausted. I'm having the experience of not being enough. I'm having the experience of not knowing how I'm going to get out of this jam. I'm having the experience of disease in my body. I'm having the experience of, that kind of sums it up. Right? Practice it. I'm just having the experience of, together. I'm just having the experience of, Okay, I notice what I notice. I go, what if that were different? What if that was just an experience I'm having? What is a greater truth? Pivot it. Pivot up. Interrupt it. Notice it, interrupt it, pivot it. What is the truth? Oh, wait, I am a child of God. Oh, wait, I am. What if I am enough? What if I had the energy? What if I took time to rest? What if I took a Sabbath week? Oh, I could never do that. People are relying on me. What if you took a Sabbath day? Or a Sabbath hour? What if you took care of not only your body, but your mind and your heart and your soul? And then came back aligned and vitalized? What if you could pivot your story for a greater story? What if our story of transition is, it was so amazing how we transformed in celebration, honor, and gratitude into the next level of experience, our next evolution of Unity Santa Fe that may be so far beyond what we've even yet imagined. What if we could look at our stories, interrupt them, and choose a new story? The truth is, you can do that. You can do that any minute that you give yourself permission to. And you do it by softening, by looking, realizing that you've got the tusk of the elephant, and that's it. What else is going on here? Oh, I've got trunks and ears and sides and tails and legs. What else is the part of your story that you're not focusing on? What else can you begin to see? What else can you make space in consciousness for? One of the things, I'm probably at my time, I forgot to pay attention, but one of the things that we did this weekend, and the reason I'm in town is we were doing a stepping stones weekend. So we're working on stepping stones to move through the ending and the gap into the new beginning when your new minister shows up. So one of the things we're playing with is aligning with an infinite possibility that that person is already here. And that changes everybody's story. It goes from, oh no, we don't know what to do, to, oh, it's already done. And we have things to do. One of the things we looked at is why. What is our deeper why? Why are we on the planet? Why are we Unity Santa Fe? Why do we do what we do? So my why, I didn't quite finish my sentence about why I do, I did. Why I do this work is because there's such magic and potential in the field at these moments of transition. The infinite, it's like the veil gets thin, and the infinite, it's like, boo, it could be this and this and this. It's so exciting to me. I love it. I love being a facilitator on this journey. And all I do is create space. My biggest job is to make the collective go, ah. So let's see if I can do that. Ready? Ah. Oh, that felt pretty good. Let's try it again. Those of you who have been with me are getting really good at it. So those of you who are, this is new to, try it anyway. Like, shoulders up, drop them. It kind of works if you flip your hands too. Ready? What if the story becomes, we're in good hands? We know exactly what we're doing. Well, we have no idea what we're doing, but we know exactly what is ours to do in this moment, and we know why. So one of the things that we played with was discovering our why. And one of the young women, Jessica, who's in the room, came up with this through the process, and she gave us permission to share. Is she in the room, Jessica? Yeah, right there. There you are. There you are. Different with the mask and out of the little, one-by-one screen. And this is what she came up with. My deepest why. I want you to feel this and own it and claim it if it's yours too. What is my deepest why? To love. To bring peace. To ease suffering. To connect. To be. To lighten. To heal. To transform. To forgive, to hold space for, to enthuse, to seek forgiveness, to play, to be courageous, to bring laughter and joy, to sing, to dance, to experience. Doesn't that feel good? Let's take that energy, that vibration, that awareness into a time of meditation. As we hear that chime, Allow your awareness to shift from the outer to the inner. Allow, as you shift that awareness, to open the space inside your being to allow the ideas that have been presented to just integrate, to just take them personally. What can you glean from what has been shared? Take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, exhale to the point of relief. Open your palms, drop your shoulders, soften your jaw, and land in that heart space. We know there is but one presence and one power active in the universe. We call it God, Spirit, Source. We call it the universe. We know that each and every one of us, and take it personal, we know that you, I am part of that divinity in expression. Perfect, whole, and complete in who I am. We know that there is nothing broken and there is nothing wrong with you, with me. And if we know that to be true, we align with that deeper essence, that Christ potential that is within us, and we free it. We free it from the stories we tell. We free it from the limitations we've had. We free it from the boxes of comfort that we've known. We free it into its fullest, authentic expression. Whatever that is for you. Whatever that is for you is perfect. And from that place of freedom, we rewrite our story. I am me. I am perfect. I am whole. I am complete. I am divinely inspired. I am free from my past limitations. I am ever becoming, ever unfolding in love, in creativity, in kindness. I am part of a much bigger story. Just lean into that, sink into that possibility. And as you do so, it is as if Spirit lifts you out of the limiting, disempowering stories you have told and frees you to create, to choose a brand new story. One of empowerment, one of fulfillment, one of wholeness, one of fulfillment, one of contentment, one of impact. What is one dynamic of the story, your new story, that's being seeded in this moment? allow your consciousness to expand, to create a spaciousness in your being that is filled with spirit. Inside your meditation, I'm going to share this poem. Me. Hey, God. God. Hey, John. Me, I'm about to break. God. Why do you think that is? Me. Because life just keeps getting harder. God. Then you need to become softer. Huh? God. Here's the thing. Glass is hard, but it can shatter easily when dropped. Rock is hard, but it can be broken quickly with a drill. Gold is hard, but it can be melted in a blazing fire. Don't be so hard that you break down so easily. Be soft, like wet clay in the hands of a potter. Be soft, like river water in the summer. Be soft, like the breeze through a row of tall pines. All of these things survive no matter what happens to them. They endure because they haven't built their existence out of hard materials. Be soft with other people. Don't break them with your words. Don't let them break you with theirs. Be soft with yourself. Your heart is more cotton than iron. Your soul is wrapped in the softest of fabrics for a reason. The softer you become, the more you understand how precious all life is. Be more of cotton than you are of concrete. Love isn't cold granite. Love is shapeless. Love is like ocean water gently passing through your toes. In a world where the hardness of diamonds help determines its worth, don't become one yourself. Become so soft that nothing can break you. Become soft. Soften the edges of what's holding you back. Soften the edges of what's disturbing you. Soften the edges of your reactions to life. Life happens. Life will keep happening. And you are love itself. You are the kindness and the compassion, the innovation, the beauty, and the creativity that you seek. It's already there. Become soft so you can recognize it. Become soft so you can recognize the truth of who you are and of what God is. Be the love. Be the love. And be the love. Take a deep breath in. Exhale very softly and completely, and to yourself simply say, I be love. And so it is. And so we let it be. Amen and amen.